and welcome to Think Up. My name is Debonitas. Today we want to talk a little bit about what is going on in Iran with the workers' protest, but more specifically about the elected workers' representative Esmail Bakhshi. You might have followed the news of the last couple of months that in the south of Iran, in Khuzestan province, the workers of Haftape, which is a sugarcane factory, they have been protesting over unpaid wages. They're saying that the privatized company, that the management embezzles money. And they formed a workers' council. They formed an independent union, which is, of course, illegal in Iran to form independent unions. And they've also formed a workers' council, which they say could run the company. They've elected their own representatives, and one of them is Esmail Bakhshi. They had several months of protests, and at one of those protests, Esmail Bakhshi was arrested, and he was for about 25 days in prison. And he was released in December. In January now, beginning of January 2019, he wrote a public letter, he wrote an open letter, and said that he was tortured while he was in prison. And he challenged the head of intelligence, Mr. Alavi, to a public debate on state division about his torture, and also that the intelligence service apparently listened in to some of his conversations with his wife. Now, after that, the Iranian regime said, we are going to investigate these claims of torture, and they had a commission, and they apparently looked at the videotaped confession of Esmail Bakhshi. And afterwards, the head of this commission said on state TV that actually Mr. Bakhshi has links to the Worker Communist Party of Iran. I've invited Hamid Taqvaee, the leader of the Worker Communist Party of Iran, today to discuss these issues with us. Hamid, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Hamid, tell me, why would the Iranian regime bring up when they're doing this investigation about the alleged torture that Esmail Bakhshi mentioned in his letter? Why would they bring up now that Esmail Bakhshi is apparently linked in some way to the WPI?
The thing that they said first was this point that he hasn't been tortured, and then they said he confessed that he's a member or he's affiliated to WPI. So they are related to each other, those two claims. The first one means that regime doesn't want, of course, that people think that Bakhshi or the other prisoner has been tortured. There's no torture. But again, when they say he's a member of this party, meaning, so we have to justify his arrest, to justify his imprisonment, and even somehow to justify, even if he has been tortured, regime was right because he's a communist. You know, for Islamic Republic, communism means enemy of people, means a party who's illegal, who want to overthrow the regime. So being a member of that party automatically means that you are a criminal. So regime has every right to arrest you, even to torture you. That's the logic behind that claim.
So Hamid Taqvaee, can I ask you, is Esmail Bakhshi, or has he ever been affiliated to WPI?
No, he hasn't. He didn't apply for membership of our party, and we have no relation. I mean, in terms of organizational party, has no relation with that. With Bakhshi, but politically, of course, Bakhshi and our party are fighting for the same thing, for the same oath, for the same slogans. Bakhshi fighting for workers' councils, which is a policy of our party for a long time. We have been promoting that. We have been talking about that, explaining that, inviting workers to assemble their councils. And Bakhshi does exactly that in Haftape. So that's one reason maybe that they think that, okay, Bakhshi must be or should be a member of this party because he does the same thing. He's fighting for the same slogans and same goals. And it's not only Bakhshi, but many workers, many activists in the labor movement, even women, when there was revolutionary girls that who were protesting against hijab. It was our slogan of party, is a struggle of party that we have been always against Islamic hijab, and now many women in Iran fighting for the same thing, or fighting against capital punishment, fighting for freedom of political prisoners, and so on and so forth. All of those campaigns that our party has been organizing, promoting, now happening on the streets of Iran. And that's another reason that regime says that, okay, Bakhshi or the other activists, they must be a member of political party, WPI, because they are fighting for the same thing.
So why would the Iranian regime then specifically mention by name the Worker Communist Party of Iran, when usually when there's an accused, they would just say, oh, he has colluded with, he's in contact with enemy governments, for example?
Yeah, they used to say that there are agents, those protesters are agents, or the activists are agents of some foreigner governments, especially the USA, Great Satan, or Israeli government, or that sort of thing. But the fact is that that thing is not working anymore for the regime. People on the streets of Iran, a popular slogan is that our enemy is here, and they are lying about our enemy being USA or any other government. Our enemy is here. That's a very popular slogan. So that line of propaganda doesn't work anymore for regime. That's one fact. The other thing is that our party is so present in any, and so involved in any protest that they cannot ignore it anymore. So logically it makes sense that when you see that people are shouting the same slogan that our party have been promoting for a long time, so it makes sense that they say, okay, so they are a member of a Communist Party. You should know that for Islamic Republic, being a communist automatically means being a criminal. Not only because our party is illegal, because we are communists and they are Islamists. There is Islamic Republic. So by definition, by Islamic law, they can even execute a communist because it doesn't believe in God. So they think that when they tell people that somebody is a member of this party, automatically means they are justified to arrest him, to torture him, to harass him, to do anything with that person. So that's another reason. So on the one hand, politically, our party is so involved in everything that they cannot ignore it anymore. On the other hand, their classic or their old propaganda is not going to work. So they think that, okay, a combination of those two. Now we can claim that those are communists. And, by this claim, what they mean, or they hope that people believe, is that they are working for a party. They are a party agent. They are not representing you. They are not fighting for people. They are against the system. They want to overthrow us. So if Bakhshi says that, for example, fight for increase of wages, or fight for having the right for independent assembly, independent organization, it's the policy of a party. It's not fighting for you. Regime thinks that can polarize the situation this way, party in front of people, against people. But the fact is that party is with the people. People know that, regime knows that, and even those propaganda is not going to get anywhere.
So when the head of the commission who watched this videotaped confession of Ismail Bakhshi, he was interviewed on Iranian state TV, and he said that the policy of the WPI is like widening the protests. What do you have to say about this statement?
He is right. In this respect, he is right. We are widening the protest and we are proud of it. Not only we are widening the protest, we are radicalizing it. We are organizing it. We are giving this a platform, a slogan, an aim. And we establish our party exactly for that, because everybody in Iran hates that regime. Majority, 99% of people, they want to overthrow the regime. And the uprising that we are witnessing in Iran is for against the regime. It's not for only for this or that demand. The main demand, the goal is getting rid of Islamic Republic of Iran, and that was the strategy and the policy and the goal of our party. So he's right. We are not only widening the protest, we are organizing it, we are giving it slogan, we are defining the aim and the goal of those protests, and regime doesn't know what to do confronting that situation, so they just try to say that, okay, the people who protest, they are not representing people, or Bakhshi doesn't represent workers, represent the party. But party and workers are the same, party and people are the same. We are fighting for the same goal, for getting rid of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Hamid Taqvaee, thank you so much for being on the program today.
Thank you.
This was Think Up with Hamid Taqvaee, the leader of the WPI. Until next time, goodbye.